This is Victor Wembanyama. He's the 2023 NBA Draft #1 pick, selected by the San Antonio Spurs. He's 7'4" and 230 pounds, and he recently went viral for his workout routine where he emphasizes his toes. And a lot of people take for granted the importance of our feet, but I'm glad that he is not. And at 19 years old, with a career in athletics, it's so critical that he starts early on how to best take care of his feet. And I think that there's a lot that we as roller skaters and athletes in general can learn from observing his workout routine. Our feet are very important to our balance and to our posture, and it is taken for granted a lot of times. 99% of the shoes that are designed in this world that we've been wearing our entire lives are not designed for our feet, and they make our feet ugly and cause foot pain on many occasions. And this is not something that you necessarily have to live with if you have the information and implement the steps in order to prevent these issues from occurring. And that's what it is that I present to you in this video. So here is an example of what our feet look like. This is my drawing. This is a view from the bottom of our feet. And so if you look at the top of the left foot, you'll see that there's a slight sloping that goes on. Our feet tend to be angled, where the big toe is at the top point of the angle on both the left foot and then the right foot. And then our pinky toe tends to be at the lowest point. And whereas when you look at the way in which many of our shoes are designed, 99.9% of all shoes are designed where the point of the shoe is at the top middle of the shoe and not where the big toe resides. And throughout your life, what happens is the shoe does not conform to your foot, but your foot tends to conform to your shoe. So if you imagine when you're first starting out and then you put on some shoes, your feet don't quite fit, because the human body is so adaptive that our toes start to bend inward and form to the shape of the shoe. And you can imagine all kinds of different issues that come from this. And one of the issues that tends to develop is bunions. So here's an example of what a bunion is, and on the left side you can see the diagram, the medical art, and you see the red point where it's the top of the right foot, and where the joint of the big toe meets the rest of the foot, it spurs out and it forms a bone spur, which is basically bone buildup. And so you can see the image on the right, and this is the image of my feet. I have bunions, and these bunions developed over many years, but in particular, when I was in high school, I used to do a lot of athletics. I used to run track, and I used to do cross country, and I also played basketball a lot. And what I would do is I would tape my feet, and so I would tape my feet around the middle part of my feet, right under where the bunion is, not knowing that I was starting to further promote the development of bunions on both my left foot and my right foot. I had no idea what bunions were at the time. And so as I continued to do that during my formative years, my foot started to take on that shape permanently, unfortunately. My feet are they're not bad. My feet are nice, and my bunions don't cause me any pain, and I'm doing things in which to not exacerbate these bunions. See, here's the thing, is that if you don't take care of this stuff early on, then your feet can get to a point where you are in constant pain and you need surgery. You have trouble walking. You may not even be able to roller skate if you don't address your bunions. And so you also have another type of trauma called turf toe. You can see the diagram on the left of the slide where you see the medical art of the side of the foot, and then where the toe bends, where the big toe bends, that joint That right there can get stressed if you move in a way in which that's too quick. And I was working out in the gym. I was doing these push-ups where you know, when you do push-ups, you're on your toes and then you're horizontal, right? And your hands are holding up your upper body. Your hands are holding up your upper body and your feet are holding up your lower body. And because my feet were bent like this, my toes were on the ground like this, and then I'm like, you know, going up and down, going up and down, going up and down as I'm doing my push-ups, right? That started to cause stress on my foot, and then after that I would go roller skating, and it was a wrap from there. So I ended up damaging my big toe joint, which is what's also called turf toe. So you can see that in the middle and on the right of the slide that I taped my toes up, and I was receiving treatment and physical therapy in order for that to heal. I still have a little bit of pain, but I'm doing much better than I was 6 months ago. So here are 4 solutions on how to prevent ugly feet and foot pain. The solution is that you can purchase store-bought insoles. Now, most shoes, again, 99%, the shoes and the sneakers that you buy, while they might look good, they're not necessarily all that good for your feet. They don't provide much support. You have to add that kind of support into your shoes. So we see here an example of a Jordan 1 that is an extremely popular sneaker, but if you look at the insole is very thin. So you see here, see how the insole is very bendable. That's not what you want. You want an insole that has more support than that. And the insole on the right-hand side is one that, while it's a very flexible sole, but it provides much more comfort. And this is called the Dr. Scholl's Comfort Sole. So you can purchase these from your local store and shape it to be able to fit into your shoe. And as you can see, it provides more of a width and size, more coverage for the bottom of your foot. So that's one of the first things that, as far as a custom insole. So, and then you have other kinds of insoles, like whether you have shoes, sneakers, or even roller skates. The type of insole support that comes is horrible, and it's not good for your feet. This is an example of an insole that comes with a very entry-level Chicago roller skating boot. This is called a custom skate insole, and it's really in a class of its own. It gives you more coverage and also more stability, particularly if you have flat feet. So it's very important to be able to provide stability toward the middle of your foot where the tendon is, because that tendon can, with flat feet, get stretched and then cause a lot of pain. And then if you want to go even further with it, like how I like to do, you can get a custom orthotic. If you look in the bottom right of this slide, you'll see a mold where it takes my impressions of my feet, both my left foot and my right foot, to capture all the nuances. And the insole, which you can see in black in the right image, is the result of the mold. And I'm showing you this in comparison to a Yeezy insole because I want you to just get it in your head that it doesn't matter the amount you pay for the sneaker or for the shoe itself. When you pay for those sneakers, when you pay for those shoes, you're paying for the design of the shoe, and you're not paying for a good insole or good support. You have to go the extra mile to be able to take care of your feet beyond just what your shoes look like. Solution number 2 is equipment and exercises. And for our exercises, we tend to need certain kinds of equipment. Now, the problem with our toes and wearing the shoes, going back to this slide here, is that unfortunately this level of trauma, this level of stress, tends to cause our toes to come together almost like if our fingers were stuck together like a mitten. When we walk, when we stand, we're supposed to be able to use our toes to grip the ground, just like we use our fingers to grip items. When we constantly wear shoes, it starts to atrophy our muscles in our toes, and we don't necessarily have the capability to stretch our toes, which prevents us from being able to properly balance ourselves and then have a good posture. So we can do toe exercises using toe spacers. And toe spacers are small pieces of plastic that is like a brass knuckle and inserts in between, and it gives space in between each of your toes, which then allows for your foot to educate itself to relearn certain kinds of behaviors, and it improves on the flexibility of each of your appendages. And what I like to do is wear toe socks with toe spacers. And you see I have my toe socks on the left of the slide, the left picture, and then I put the toe spacers on. I wear these when I'm out and about on many occasions, particularly when I wake up in the morning and I go for a walk. I put my toe socks on and then my toe spacers, then I put on my walking or running shoes, and then I go outside and I go for a walk. And I make sure that I get plenty of steps in so that I'm training my feet to be able to utilize the muscles of each individual toe. Another exercise that you can do is called toe curls. And this is an exercise where you take a towel and then you attempt to grab the towel with your toes. And so I do this 5 seconds on, 5 seconds off. So 5 seconds of grabbing and then 5 seconds of relaxing. And I do this 10 times in the morning. And what this also does is it starts to educate your foot on how to better articulate your toes. Another exercise that you can do is stretching your toes using a stretch band. What this tends to do is retrain your big toe to point straight, to point outward instead of inward. And so you can do this 5 seconds on, 5 seconds off for 10 in a row, whatever your comfort level is. Solution number 3 is medical attention. It's very, very, very important that if you have any kind of foot pain or concerns about your feet, to seek help. Go to a podiatrist. A podiatrist is a foot doctor. They'll be able to tell you what kinds of issues that you may have with your feet. Also, the exact size of each of your feet, because our feet tend to be different sizes, not drastically usually. Some you may not even notice it, but they tend to be just a little bit different. So if you can get a professional opinion on how your feet are designed, that's going to give you a leg up on your ability to perform as a roller skater and as an athlete in general. You can find a podiatrist by going through your health insurance if you happen to have some, or you can do a search online for your nearest podiatrist. Solution number 4 is footwear. Now, going back to what I said earlier, 99.9% of all footwear damages our feet. And that's because they're not properly shaped to the silhouette of how our feet are designed. So that means that when you're looking for shoes, you have to have that in mind if you really care about taking care of your feet. Fortunately, though, there are some brands that can help you. So the first tip is when you're looking for a shoe, always lean to a larger size versus a smaller size. And the reason why is because you want to be able to give your feet space to move around as your feet expand throughout the day. So if you have a small shoe, then it's going to cause more problems with your feet. The other pro tip that you want to have when you're improving on your footwear is to get a shoe that's also more wide than it is narrow. And there are some brands that provide different widths. And New Balance is one of those brands. So here we have a pair of New Balances that I wear, which is the New Balance 990. And it's a phenomenal, very comfortable shoe. I have wide feet, which I learned from going to the podiatrist. And I didn't know that I had wide feet. I thought my feet was narrow with high arches. Turns out I have wide feet with low arches. So you can't just assume certain things just because. It's really important to go and seek medical attention and get an evaluation. But because I was able to get that information, I knew that I needed to have a shoe that was a bit wider. So fortunately, New Balance provides for certain models of sneakers different widths. And you can see on the right hand side, I also have my custom orthotic in the shoe. So this is an extremely comfortable experience, and you can do this and adapt this to different kinds of shoes that you would find interesting. In regard to skates, there's things in which that you can do as well to have a better footwear experience. The first thing is that all the same rules apply for skates that you use to improve upon your footwear for your shoes. You want to have a size that it was a little bit larger versus smaller. You also want to be able to have a size that is a little bit wider than it is narrow, depending on your foot. They say that skates should be snug, and that's true because you want to have stability. You don't want the skate to be moving around under you while you're performing moves because that can cause injury. But at the same time, you also want to make sure that you're not aggravating any kind of foot issues. You can see here, this is the Chicago skate traditional disco style that is entry level, and then right here you see that I have one of my quad roller skate conversions where I take a hockey skate and I turn it into a quad roller skate. Now if you look on this boot, look at the toe box, and the toe box here is narrow and pointed, and so it doesn't contour to the shape of your foot. Whereas if you look at this high-end hockey skate here that I turned into a roller skate, you can see that the toe box here follows the contour of the human foot a lot better. It's wide as opposed to being pointed, and then the point does come where the big toe would rest. And so not only do you get more room here, you can also use a hair dryer and heat up this boot to then start to wrap around the specific shape of your foot to have even more comfort. And you cannot do that with this kind of skate because it's not made of that kind of material. This is cool because it's still a stiff boot, so you get the stability that you need from this kind of boot around the shape of your foot. And then on top of that, with the skate, you can put in your custom insole. So here we see the Superfeet insole here. And there's 4 solutions on how to prevent ugly feet and foot pain. If you're interested in making your own roller skates, you can check out my tutorials on my channel and on my website at averygoodidea.com. If you're not necessarily a DIY kind of person and you would like your own pair, send me an email at avery@averygoodidea.com, or go to my website and then fill out the custom inquiry order and I can get an estimate to you. So, all right, peace.